Web dev versus SEO. Why are they both very different? That's a good question. They're both very different in unique ways, and we're going to discover these ways that they are different by understanding the value of what they both contribute to the algorithm. It's like left brain, right brain. You can't do SEO without a website, and you can't do a website without SEO. Because someone might think, oh, does it mean that I don't have to use my website? I'm talking about any website. Even if you don't use your website, there's a website that is SEO driven. Whether it's a featured commercial magazine, whether it is your website, whether it is creating content for the benefit of the people that you are building for, whether it's your community, that's where it's going to play a big role into your discoverability. So I'm excited to talk about WebDev versus SEO, why both of them are very different. Now, I decided to go this route with the discussion because when you're able to see why they are different, you can understand why you need both. Because web development or web dev is technically how you develop websites, right? But the development of the website is not just based on how it looks, it's also based on how it's structured. So SEO is important because when you're building a website, you need SEO while you build the website. They're both very different because they work hand in hand. If they were doing the same thing, they would both not have to be in the same place at the same time. That's why they're both very different. That's why you have a left hand and a right hand. They're both hands, but they both, I can say they both do very different things, right? Even though they're hands, you can still clap your hands, right? You can still sound a little bit like this. That's a multitude of people clapping their hands with two hands, right? In multitudes. So if you use the same analogy and you know that it's going to create a worldwide effect, a global effect, it's going to create something that's going to be just beyond you, then that means the more applauses you get, it means the more hands that are working together at the same time. So when you look at your website and you look at development and SEO, they work together because you have an image, you have text, you have a link. You have a video, you have a text, you have a link. You have a text, you have a link, you have an image. You have a button, you have a link, you have a video. There's always going to be some type of link, some type of image, some type of video, some type of text. So if these text messages or these email threads or these captions generate in a way that actually drive the narrative, they drive the conversation, then they both need each other. Because web dev is basically understanding what it entails to build this website. Is it on JavaScript? Where are we going to be able to build this on? What kind of coding are we going to use this for, right? If we're thinking HTML, okay. If it's going to be rendering, what are we rendering? There's going to be a lot of things involved, right? We talk about PHP, we talk about CSS. These are things that are on the web development side of things, right? At the same time, we think about web development where we actually have conversations on what type of website we want. Because sometimes it's like, okay, what do you want? Do you want a brick house? What kind of house do you want? Let me not even give different options. Let me ask you the question. What kind of house do you want? So if you want that type of house, then it's going to require that type of consistency, right? And when you build that consistency, it plays a big role into how your website is going to look, because SEO is how people are going to feel when they find your website on Google, and also when they find your website on screen, when they're scrolling through your web pages. Web dev is what gets them to your website, right? Web development is what gets people to your website, because without any development, there will be no website. If somebody did not build your house, you wouldn't be living in one, or the one you're living in would not be there if it wasn't built by a developer. So website development or web dev is very important for website visibility. And that also plays into how your website rolls. So if you're working on a website, you want to have a website that your business, welcome Sheree, Lazy, and Sankey, you want your website to become the go-to for a certain topic. If there are 10 lists on a board, which one are you going to pick and why? That's going to play a big role. Thank you for the thumbs up, Sankey. So you're playing a role in understanding that your web dev is important as much as your SEO is. Because if I build this website and there's no SEO, then we're going to have a backlog. I'll give you an example. Very, very good instance here. We have let me put it this way. I just want to make sure that this is driven home well. So there's a friend of mine, really good friend of mine, and we haven't met in years. And we got to talk over Zoom this week because I got to see his posts last week or the week before, and I was like, yo, let's connect. So he gave me a website to look at, and they just finished this website. Come to find out that this website is so pretty on the outside. It's so beautiful. Like if you see it, you're like, wow, this is definitely the site I want to be in. Welcome PPP and Zia. I was like, yeah, this is definitely where I want to be. Welcome Arman. Now, the problem with this site, welcome Tide and Hiruka and Zia and AMR. The problem with this site is that when I searched where the canonical tag was stemming from, it wasn't positioned correctly. In other words, the website was not ready for launch. Yes, the website is live. You can see it on your screen, but it was not live to the server. Why? Because the canonical tag was saying localhost. So when you have a local drive and you have a cloud drive, just in business, corporate, if you think about it, servers, when you have a drive, the drive is going to be the local, is going to be a cloud drive, right? So if it's going to be a cloud drive, then it's going to be received on a different server, or a server that will be accessed through different endpoints. If it's local, then I can't access your local computer because I don't have access to the local server. So it's the same thing with your website. If your website is not having any service, then there's no way you can serve information to any server. So the whole point of having a website is so that your website is developed for SEO. That's why they're both very different, because someone can say, oh yeah, I have a website developer. Okay, does he know SEO? Does she know SEO? Yes or no? It's going to have to be one of the two. Then the person who is doing SEO, do they do SEO for websites? Do they do websites with SEO in mind, or do they also create websites themselves? Because SEO can actually do websites, but rarely do you see web developers knowing SEO, because they just focus on scripts, they focus on codes, they focus on builds, they focus on experience, UX, user experience, and that's it. Some of them know about SEO, but that will not be their first choice. So when you're thinking about the effect of this, you want to have someone, welcome Unique. You want to have someone that is technically savvy with both website development and also savvy with SEO. If you have someone that can do both, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to somebody who you know. This is going to help you make better decisions, because when you look at both of these functionalities, like I mentioned earlier, when people clap for you in a room, that's because they are clapping their hands and they're using two hands to clap. Yes, you have a left hand and a right hand, but you need both of them to work together so that you can clap your hands. So if everybody's clapping their hands, that's a standing ovation, right? So if you're having a round of applause, that's because a lot of people are clapping their hands like I did before. So imagine if everyone that was clapping did not have the right hand to clap with.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
The left hand to clap with, it wouldn't sound like that, right? It would have a completely different sound. So if you look at your website and SEO, they have to clap. They have to clap their hands. They have to be together. You got to be left brain, right brain. We can't have left brain without the right brain. We can't have right brain without the left brain. They both need to work, but they're both very different, because web development is the development of a website. SEO is a structure of the website. Even though WebDev is a structure of the website, it's a structure of the website from the technical standpoint of the root, the domain, the hosting, the scripts, the codes, the analytics, the buttons, the tabs, the footer, the header, the links. All those things is web development. You're developing a website for functionality. SEO, welcome key. SEO is not for functionality. SEO is for relevance, it's for impact, and it's for engagement. When you have those three, you now have click-through rates, you have opt-ins, you have lead conversions, you have traffic, you have visitors, you have sales, you have a business, and you have impact. That is where it drives the motion. So you need both, but they're also both very different. Right now we're working with a client and they had a website built before we came on board. Welcome to Spina. They had a website built, but their website got hacked before we got there. So we're now moving everything over and making sure everything is clean and secure. But now the problem is we don't have a website. We needed to have it recreated. So it's being recreated right now because we said, okay, let's make sure that we can have the best possible action as a next step. And the person who built the website is rebuilding the website right now on a new server because the old one was hacked and we had to move them over so they can have a safety net. Now they're on a new server, but the developer is building the same website but on a different service because we have a backup. So what's going to happen now is after the web developer is done, I can come back in and look at the site and say, okay, scan these pages. Do we have open graphs? Do we have schema? Do we have tags? Do we have internal links? Do we have external links? Do we have headings? Do we have the right tools in place? Are we connected to Google? Are we connected to Microsoft? Are we connected to an analytics tool? Do we have speed? Is our images, are the images heavy? Are they light? Do we have videos embedded? Do we have our camps? I can even call them our embedded codes mapped back into, I can say, the camp of our website. Are all our headers working? Do we have our tabs working? Do we have pop-ups? Do we have traffic at all? Do we have good DNS records? That's where SEO comes in. Do we have the right canonical tags? Do we have the right robots tags? These are all sounding like jargon, but these are the completely two different things. Because as soon as the website is done, it's like saying, okay, the website is done. Now we got to furnish it. How do you furnish a website? By the words that you put, by the sizes of the images, by the scrolling effect, by the clicks, by the time it takes to load. These are SEO things that have to be involved. It's completely different from website development. Website development is put this to the right. It's kind of like moving furniture. Oh, move right, move it up a little bit to the side. Okay, that's perfect. Tilt it this way. That's web development. You're coding, you're scripting, you're tweaking, you're weaving. SEO, it's like you're putting color on top of it. You're putting ribbons on top of it. You're putting sauces on top of it. You're putting spices. It's like you have the rice, but you need the gravy. You have the sauce, but you need the spice. Because that's without the spice, it's still the sauce, but the sauce is not going to taste as spicy as it could. So you need both. So what I'm really trying to say here is don't look at SEO and don't look at web development as the same thing that, oh, someone did my website, that means SEO has been done. No. There are 1.1 billion websites. That means there are 1.1 billion website owners. So if we have a billion plus website owners, do all of them know what this is or how this works? Not everyone. I may be wrong, but if we look at how many websites are not doing what should be done for 2026, then it's going to be hard to scale. So majorly, the goal is to make sure that you can create consistent traffic by building a system that will attract your audience. And the only way you're attracting an audience that is going to give you attention is by building retention using SEO as a way to build the attention. Because SEO is organic. When a tree grows and it's standing and the tree is looking beautiful with the leaves, with the fruits, it's because it's there. It's because it's there. If that tree was not planted, that tree would not be there to look at. Same thing goes for your website. If your website was not built with SEO or built with a way that it could be seen on Google, it could be seen on a search engine, then it's not being seen at all. It's there, but it's not visible. It's like having a tree and then putting a whole shade in front of it, or putting something like to the point where I can't see it. There's a whole tint. But imagine I could see this clearly. Welcome, Lindsay. I could see this so clearly. They're so important because when you look at both of them, play a big role in how both connections come together. And if they don't come together, then that's where there's going to be a disconnect. It's like me and Lindsay saying, okay, we have a conversation. Lindsay is not understanding me. I'm not understanding Lindsay. Both of us are just going to be like, okay, whatever. And then before you know it, we don't have a conversation anymore. But if I'm talking to Lindsay and she's saying something back and Lindsay is talking back to me and I'm able to understand it and we have a conversation, at the end of that conversation, we leave better than we came, or we have a better conversation than we had in the beginning, then we have a better understanding. So it's like if your website has understanding with SEO and you sell flowers and there are flower pots on your page with images that look good. Okay, are those images compressed? And are those images file names to actually match the search that has flowers in the search box? That's the whole cycle of search. It's search, find, click, save. Search, find, click, save. That's what we do every single day. Search, find, click, save. Welcome, Darren. You see, somebody found the room. So you're going to click on the room and then you're either going to save the replay or you're going to come back another day or you're going to listen to this when you're ready. So when you think about this search, find, click, save, and you do that consistently and ask yourself, am I in that spinning wheel? Then that way you're able to know what's better for you and they can both work together. Lindsay, I would love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this? Good evening.
Oh, well, good evening. And I mean, you are the absolute master at this. There's no question. I think you've been in my ecosystem for 4 years and always bring in the fire with so much wisdom. So, I would say in terms of optimization, I'm an infant in the game compared to you. So for those in the room, I mean, Favour really knows what he is teaching. He truly does. He's just being in his presence has taught me so much about really reframing the way that I think. And I would invite everyone to save the replay and come back. And what I think about it is that, again, each one of these options, like when we're talking about our web development, when we use SEO to get more people to our site, that is amazing. And I'm always working on making it so that the website also is creating true calls to action. So I'll be here listening and taking it in. And hey, Donovan, nice to see you. Been a minute. I see Darren has joined us too, and we've got some other friends. So I'm here to, I'll absolutely contribute where I can, and I'll also stay learning because you always bring so much richness to when you're teaching.
Thank you, Lindsay. Knowing you for 4 years plus is it's interesting. It's like you know somebody for such a long time, and you're like, where did time go? It's already April, so I'm so glad that we're able to connect here on the app as well. And thank you for being here as well, Darren, Donovan. I see as well Samia, Opal, and thanks for being here as well, DJ Bupati. We talk about websites daily. We build websites. Erdine as well. We look at these things and we ask ourselves, what are we using websites for? Do we use them as landing pages? Do we use them as operations? Do we use them as assets? Do we use them as canvas? Do we use them as portfolios? What is the purpose of a website? So when people say that they build websites, it's very important to ask, what type of website are you building? I was having a conversation with someone today, and he's doing it, but he's like, I'd rather not be doing this. And I was like, what are you doing? And I was like, what exactly are you working on? And he's like, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing with WordPress, and we're specifically working with this type of tool. And I was like, that's what we do every day. He's like, what? I was like, yeah. So I was like, okay. Because basically they build it Elementor, and we've also used like Cornerstone, Divi. There's so many other building tools. And by the way, if you think about WordPress, there are 1.1 billion websites in the world, and 43% of those websites are on WordPress. So if you just think about like government websites, medical websites, hotel website, restaurant websites, name it, schools, most of them, majority of them are built on WordPress. It's not that the others are not good, but that's where the majority is. When it comes to e-commerce, we talk about Shopify. When you have Wix, when you have Squarespace, all these platforms, they don't give you or tell you that your website needs development. Most times we just buy a website because it looks good or it feels good. Like I was talking about earlier, how there's somebody who built a website, and the website he built is fantastic. It's amazing, but the canonical tag is reading localhost. So Google is not seeing it, and you can only see it if you access the website by directly typing it in, which is going to be hard to do in 2026 when everybody's searching everywhere. So it's no longer search engine optimization, it's search everywhere optimization. So your website is one of those places people are going to be looking for. Even right now with ChatGPT, there was a news that just came out recently, and it's between 25% to about 52%. And that's always going to be a variable number. But when it comes to citations now, Google is using, ChatGPT is using all these AI tools. They're using your website as a point of reference to fact check data as a trust signal. Google just released something called a spam update recently. What that means is a lot of people are now doing this whole ChatGPT, spill, or I can say this AI slob. That's what most people are calling it now, where you just post, okay, frequently asked questions, bam, 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 bam. It's not going to work because Google has been here for so many years that they have literally the same amount of traffic if you combine all social media combined in one. If you really think about it, because Google has about 86.2, about there or so billion searches. So if you're looking at Google as an unsaturated place, because not everybody updates their websites, not everybody updates their pages. Some people have pages from 2010, 2015. Some people have not updated their website this year. It's already April. It's still saying 2025 at the bottom of your website. Some people don't have it automatically. Some people don't have it manually done. It's just paid for it, and that's it. And then you now start advertising, going on shows, but technically it's not there. So the goal of a website is to operate at a high capacity, at a high velocity. And if it's not operating and you're looking at your competitors, most people say, oh yeah, let me check my competitors. Competitors, they'll be like, oh yeah, they run social media posts. Are they running ads? That's how most people are going to be factoring in those things. But if you look at it from a larger perspective or a larger scope, it's not just whether they're running ads or doing social media campaigns. It's how they're structured on Google and how well does the knowledge graph know about their website. If the knowledge graph is low in quality, then it's going to be hard for them to even convert at a high rate because the paid ads you're paying for is coming from organic traffic that you're finding. So it's going to be the same thing. That's why when the cost per click of something is $2, it's because the search demand is high because people are searching for this thing organically. They're not searching for it on a paid platform. They're using google.com to search for it on a Google box. So if you're trying to get that same amount of traffic, but you're not showing up on Google Lightbox, you're not showing up on Google Search Console, you're not showing up within the Google Analytics dashboard, then it's hard for all these other search engines to find you credible. So the goal is not just to slop content in 2026, is to have structure. Ask your web developer if they know someone that does SEO. Ask them if they do web development and SEO. If they don't, ask them if they know someone who does. If they don't, then ask them how do they do it as a business, because you can't just have a website that is complete without having any SEO. It's like saying I have a house with no furniture or I have a house with no roof. It's a house, but it's not a house that's complete without having the roof, without having the furniture, because that's what makes your home a home. You want to decorate, you want to build, you want to make it homely. Yes, you have the space, but you want to make it nice. So how do you make your website nice? You bring in photos, you bring in videos, you bring in content, right? Because a website is full of content. If that website does not speak to you, then it's not going to be valuable to you, because the value in what you're seeing is not equated to the value you uphold. So the goal is to match that value with the same value that the person that's going to find it will see. So web development is basically handling the business operation of having a standard foundational site. SEO is where you're now coming to add the cherry on top. You're coming to make sure everything is technically sound. It's like putting speakers at an event hall and you don't have a sound technician to fix the sound. It's not going to work. You need both, because you can have a great speaker but terrible sound. You might have a movie that looks great in 4K, 8K, but if that sounds like 360p or sounds like bitrate of 144 or 192 kbps, it's going to sound different. So you want to match the audio quality with the video quality, and that's the same way you want to match your website with your SEO. Lindsay, let me ask you this. Just in your experience and just seeing how businesses interact, where do you see websites in conversation when you look at social media and influence, especially when it comes to that impact value over just, mentions and citations and, follows?
Well, I think that websites are, so Favour, you might not like this analogy, but it is the way that I feel about them, is that they're proof of, they're more than proof of concept. They're like proof of success. So they're the equivalent of like a really strong business conversation, if you will. And so people generally, in a lot of ways, will find people from social media, but how they verify the value that someone really brings to a conversation is through their website. So it's, when they get there, that's really like the proof in the pudding that this is someone that I can come to know, like, and trust. And so I feel as though that's the trust building factor in the relationship. And it is like your third party validator without you speaking. So you meet someone in person, they'll check you out on social media, typically whatever platform they are most active on. But then the way that they verify without talking to anyone is to go to your website. And that's what tells them or gives them the feeling of your level of professionalism.
That is so true. Thank you, Lindsay. You're so right. I look at your website, and that is pretty much your calling card, your portfolio, where people want to connect with you. And everybody sees your website, but the people who go technically behind it are able to understand what your website looks like. And if I can pull up your website and see where it's coming from, what's going on, where is it built, how is it stationed, how is it being received, is it being received with good signals, is it not? We're working with a client that has about close to about 1,000 sitemaps, and each sitemap is about 50,000 URLs. So imagine trying to scrape through all that data in millions of pages over years of publishing. How do you want that to even look like long term? So we figured that, okay, they're losing traffic because of content decay. Now, yes, the website is built, it's developed. It's like having a house for 30 years, 40 years, but you've never fixed the roof. You've never renovated the kitchen. You've never added paint to a section. You've not really done any touch-ups. So that's something that you would do to improve the value or increase the value or even improve the experience overall, entirely on where you want it to be. So if you're thinking about how you can grow, how can you do that in a way that is also organic and is also healthy? Because websites and developments take time. We've just completed, as of today, a website that we've taken about 30 days to really optimize, because they have about really, let's say about 5 strong direct competitors. And I did a study today, and I realized that out of 5 of them, one of them is at least 20% close to what we've just installed, because there's a Google March spam update that happened. Yes, a Google March spam update happened not too long ago that was just completed. I think it was March 27th that was completed. And then there was a public discover update that was completed in February. So there have been 2 major updates that have happened, which are going to trajectory wise change the narrative and the way, and I would even say the functionality of how Google is going to be looking like in the next couple of months. So that's why they're doing it early in Q1 and Q2, because there's going to be a testing period for the next 3 to 12 months. So if we know that, okay, we're going to be in a season now that we're going to be, I would say, like receiving content in a very considerate way, it's going to be changing how localized content is going to be received. So if you have a website and you're declining in traffic, the problem is not content, because the client came to us and said, hey, we're posting content daily. I'm like, okay, I did an audit, come to find out that their oldest content was 2,500 days old. And that's at least 70% of their content moving towards 2025. So how do you fix that? How do you index that? How do you tell, okay, yeah, we're a business, we have a company, but we don't have this, we don't have this. And I'll look at your tags. I'll clearly show you, hey, this is what I see. Let's fix this. And they're on different servers. Now everything has been complete today. So I said, okay, from today is day 1 of 90. So I know in the next 90 days, things are going to change, because we've done so much groundwork. We've, of course, they have a content writing team. I've not written one single blog, but what I've done is to make sure that it's like going to a car pit stop, in the middle of a Grand Prix race, and you're about to have an F1 race and you're about to get to, the finish line, and they just have a quick pit stop and you're tweaking all the ends. That's where you can really, really, I would say, need for speed, if I can put it in that way, because at that point, you want to drive at high capacity. If you look at Google Search Console and you look at the dashboard, that's what it literally tells you. You know how it says start now? If you go to Google Search Console, go to google.com and type in Google Search Console, and then click on the Google Search Console About section. When you click that, on the left side, it says start now. On the right side, it shows you a dashboard. Why does it look like a dashboard? Because it's a car. However fast you want to drive your car, you could drive your car at 20 miles an hour, or you can drive it at 200 miles an hour. It's up to you. It's based on how you drive. It's your experience. Do you like fast cars? Do you like slow cars? How do you drive? That's completely on how you safely want to get to your destination. If you want to get to your destination in 3 days, okay. If you want to get there in 3 hours, okay. If you want to get there in 3 minutes, okay. If you want to get there in 3 seconds, okay. We're talking about space. Some people are in space right now, going around the moon. That's going to take 10 days. You know how long it takes to hit, for a rocket ship to go out of space? You know how many miles it takes? 62. You can Google it. So if you're doing things at a capacity that is going to make your website grow and it's going to take 62 days, 90 days, 365 days, however long it's going to take for you to get there, but you know that at the time you get there, you've accomplished a mission that was so valuable that you wouldn't have to pay for twice, then yeah, you're in business, because now you actually understand the value and the exchange of the context. It's not just about building business, it's about building impact and connecting with people overall. I had a call with someone today. It was a group call and I was a guest. And these are people I've never talked to before. I met them and I was telling them about my podcast. My podcast is called We Don't Play. And I was showing them how they can get ahead of their competitors because they're starting their podcast and I want them to make sure that they're also good. Having my podcast for the last 7 years, it's going to be August 12th will be 7 years this year. And we have over 650 episodes streaming in 160 countries. And we are live and we're hitting season 13 this month. It's like, wow, I was not even counting, but I was just going, connecting with people, having interviews, talking about different topics, and it's just taking its own course. Podcasting is usually, I've done the math, podcasting is usually between 30 days to 9 months of maturity. Thank you so much. So if you want to test how well your podcast is, give it 9 months, like a baby. Just give it 9 months. The more you pump in 30 days, the more you get in 9 months. If you pump 1 episode a month, then that's what you're going to get after 9 months, 9 episodes. But if you pump more than one, like last month, I think we did about 15 episodes or so, right? I can't even count. It's a lot. But I realized that what is happening now is the results I'm getting and the feedback I'm getting is so direct that I'm able to now actually dissect what needs to be said next, because I know more people want something specific. People don't want the fluff. Yeah, keywords don't matter. Actually, let me say it this way to make it even more contextual. You know how we talked about strings, keyword strings? Now there's something called keyword things. I won't go too deep into that, but the more you can identify a thing in the abyss of the internet within its digital infrastructure, the better your website can actually show its authority based on the context that you're having within conversations that show up on users' screens, whether they're using a mobile device, a tablet, a desktop, a laptop, whatever they're using, a Mac and Windows or Linux, whatever they're using, Chrome, Safari, Brave, DuckDuckGo, whatever it is, they're going to find information that will be able to help them have a better user experience. And if we know that it's going to be based on their web history and their app activity, then their content has to semantically connect with yours. So if you're connected with theirs, then that means the content you have should be so representational based that if you're talking about cat, is it cat food or is it cat walk? The semantics have to be there because people can type in anything, but they have to be connected and interconnected. Welcome, Natasha. Welcome, Tanya. Good to have you as well, Darren and Soma and Isa. And thanks for being here too, Ryan. So I just wanted to make sure that you can understand that these two are two different entities, WebDev and SEO. When we build your website, we do both. Some people just do WebDev. Some people just do SEO. Some people do both, but they're both very different. You have a left hand, you have a right hand. They're both hands, but they do different things. So when you think in that way and you're looking at it not just as, okay, I got to do this. It's more so, okay, when this is done, then what next? And then when you start to actually notice that your traffic is growing and you're actually blowing up, you're glowing up, and you have more time to spend on the web, it's good. Do you know the average bounce rate for your website, it's anywhere between, I would say, lower 20s on a good day, which is like a perfect score, close to that, and to about 40%. Do you know what a good close rate is? You can always do the math, but it's always going to be between 30 to 40%. So if the bounce rate is within a 30 to 40%, close rate is between 30 to 40%, and your closing rate, let's say close at 30 to 40% closing rate, that's good. Some people close at 1%, 5%, some at 50, 80%. So even domains, if you have a domain authority of 30 to 40, that's good. If you have a podcast that has a listen score of 30 to 40, that's good. If you have a credit score that's between 30 to 40, definitely below 30, that's good. So the laws are the same. It's the same difference. If you can apply it to different components that actually attribute to your results, and you're able to know exactly what you're putting in and what you're getting out, then you'll be so far ahead, you won't have to worry about things like this that shouldn't bother you at all. So I'm hoping that this is giving you some insights and also allowing you to understand where this is taking us to the next level. So if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. And Lindsay, what would you say would be a big takeaway for somebody listening to this? And also for you, what would you say for someone that would ask, okay, what would I want to do next with this information?
Well, now you just said those, and forgive me because now I don't even know. And I wanted to pull up my Google Analytics platform because I'll be real honest, Favour. It is like my least favorite thing to look at. I hate the Google format. It feels like an Android to me, and I'm an iPhone user, if that makes sense. So I'm always like, every single part of it makes me feel like I'm stupid. I'll be honest. But then you just said keyword things, or I don't know, you said some new thing and I was like, stop. I feel like there's more to learn. So I guess my takeaway would be come back again so we can learn what the heck that next thing is that is important for us to pay attention to. And I might have gotten what it's called wrong, so feel free to correct me, but my ears were fully perked up and I was like, I actually, and I do love learning. So, hey, Fabian, nice to see you. So my curiosity was definitely piqued. And so my takeaway is to stay hungry, keep learning. Because like I said, even when I look at my Google Analytics, that whole platform, and every time I turn around, there's something else to learn. And even though it makes me feel like I don't know a lot, which is true, the other reality is the only way we come to know more is to stay hungry and stay curious. So yeah, stay around people like you. That's what I would say. And you want to drop what the name of that new thing is? You don't have to teach about it today. We can come back and savor it another day, but we drop it one more time. What's new?
So great question, Lindsay, and welcome, Ryan. Thanks for being here. The thing I mentioned was keyword things. So normally it's keyword strings, because strings is what most people would say when you think about long tail keywords, short tail keywords, medium tail keywords, because short tail keywords is 1 to 2 words in a sentence. Medium is between 2 to 3, and long is between 3 to 5 plus. And nowadays, when people are making prompts are anywhere from 10 to 25 words plus. So people are having conversations with their bots or with their search boxes, as opposed to best restaurant near me or hotels for fun. People are being more specific. Hey, I want suya that's fried, but I want to have it on a rooftop with a margarita, or maybe I want to have it on the weekend, and after that I can go to watch the game, by the baseball stadium. People are being very specific with what they actually want, so that even now with Google Maps, there's something called Ask Maps. So it's turning into things, keyword things. You can just type in keyword things. Literally, it's not a tool. It's just a phrase or a saying that's just to say that, quote unquote, for lack of a better word, the things that people are searching for now are so specific that the word thing can now be equals to something that's semantically connected to what they're asking for in the search. And I know you mentioned Google Analytics is looking like we need a switch. It's 20 years now. We need a switch over or a makeover. And there's an alternative tool that I got to connect with the co-founder. I featured him on my podcast, and it's called SEO Gets. SEO gets.com, and they just released a feature now that allows you to connect your GA4, so you don't have to look at your Google Search Console on one tab and look at your Google Analytics on another tab. You can look at both of them under one tab, and it actually has a much better look and aesthetically pleasing feel. You're able to even see branded keywords, non-branded keywords. Those things happened on SEO Guest before even Google dropped them, when I talked about them back in November, and they just released them not too long ago. So yes, SEOgets.com is a good one that you can use so that you can look at your analytics and at least see what's going on. Because Lindsay, if you send me your website, or you can DM me, send me a message, I'll look at it and then I'll tell you what I see. And then you can tell me what we can do, because there's some things that I'm seeing consistently that if it's not looked into, it could be overlooked, and out of oversight, you just end up not seeing it, like kind of like out of sight, out of mind, out of sight. So yeah, just wanted to make sure I could emphasize that. But that was a great question, Lindsay. Yeah, thank you for that. Ryan.
Yeah, thank you. And I already pulled it up, and I went, just wait, because your DMs are about to light up, because I have more than one website, and none of them are as robust as I would like them to be. However, like you and I talked about earlier, your website is proof of professionalism. And so when I have an offering or for a business or community, they must all have their own domain and website appropriately. So I do also know I could do it much more optimized if I only had one thing. And so I give myself grace and I learn as I go, and I could probably use some Favour in my life. So just wait.
Love it, Liz. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm super excited. We're actually moving over a client's. She has about 70 plus domains. It's all. I've been dealing with pages on cores, so let's do it. Bring it on. Let's make it happen. Let's see what the priority is. Look at the industry market, the analysis, the TAM, the SAM, and the SOM, and we'll make sure that everything is sound, so that you're able to have that semantic breeze between different pages, so that you're not, missing out on all the potential traffic you could get, within the different avenues that you're serving. So thank you for that, Lindsay. I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to connecting. Ryan, thank you for being here, and welcome to Marketing Club. We'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, contributions. The floor is yours.
What's up, y'all? Great to see an SEO room. One of the things I wanted to add to what you were saying about the difference between WebDev and SEO is that currently there's a pretty fatal flaw in the sequence that some applications that are built on vibe coding tool sets can run into. A lot of them actually, but in general, the tool sets that people are making hundreds of thousands of apps per day on do not have the most robust SEO support currently, and specifically, when you're dealing with, like, let's say a prompted web dev scenario where someone's using a tool like maybe Lovable, where they're creating single page applications. What happens is that a lot of the SEO infrastructure might go overlooked, and there are limitations, and there are actually it's a really good time to know what you have to do in order to take a single page application on like Replit or Lovable or Cursor, one of those things, and then pass through it, and get SEO. I ran into a few issues. I ran into some Canonical issues where, some of the sites that I was vibe coding, even though I had instructed Opus 4.6 to make the individual descriptions for the different pages for keywords. Unfortunately, the way that the site was built, the pages were indexed with the same description as the homepage, right? And it was there's a battle in that regard, because just in general, the system is built with a single SEO blurb, in the for Lovable specifically is built, not with a lot of SEO dynamic elements in mind. And so you have to prompt your way into those situations. So, but yeah, there's a huge drawback too for single page applications, that are going to, they're going to load when you hit them. They're not there. They're there, and then they access the information once you are there, so that a client-side rendering occurs. And what that means is that bots that take a snapshot immediately when they hit a page, a lot of times they're getting a partially loaded or an unloaded empty page, and that can have a negative effect on your SEO. So, we might be looking at an era where people taking their code repositories out of these places where people are building lots of websites might be the right pathway forward in order to have more control over SEO. But they're also going to, these companies are going to change their offering sets rapidly, and I foresee that search engine optimization will be a chapter of the anthropic waves of different things that they focus on. Right now they're focusing on cybersecurity and building security with their new model that is partially released but not fully. Only select people are using what's called Capybara right now, and the main intent of that is to build applications that are secure. So I suspect at some point that the initiative will shift and some of the tool sets will get better for the vibe coding options to support better SEO. So anyway, it's an interesting thing to think about when you're comparing web dev and SEO. The two worlds are way different, and when you're vibe coding, you need to be specifically talking in a world of making sure that your images have alt tags, and making sure your text links have title tags, and things that do not by default happen through vibe coding. The stuff that WordPress was doing for you automatically, it's not happening in the world where most people are building applications. I'll land on this, which is that I keep talking about vibe coding because I do think it's the future of designing websites. And I've been running a web design agency and a marketing agency in multiple different niches for a couple decades. And I am more capable now, and I can deliver better results to my clients, and I can build lighter stacks faster. I can prototype for people. I can get to market with a minimally viable product using these different tool sets that tap into these super AI engine brains where, Gemini 3.0 and Claude Opus 4.6 are helping make these super intelligent decisions to build on behalf of whoever's prompting. So I'm thinking that's the direction that things are going when it comes to building. So that's why I'm tying this into my experience with Lovable. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Ryan. This is so good. Yes, I've been hearing about vibe coding, and that's definitely something that is on the rise at the moment. And as it is right now, it's still very early to tell, like you said, and with a whole lot of intellectual integrations that are going to be going into even semantics of search indexing, to the point where you're actually getting sources and trust signals from query fan outs all the way to grounding queries, and even in between the AI search engine optimization setups. That's going to be a completely different thing in a couple of years for sure. But right now, when I look at the way things are being built, yes, you can have, like you said, that SEO page, but if I was to scan that page and it's only, let's say, 24 kilobytes, and Google now only allows you to have about 2 megabytes, which used to be 15 megabytes worth of crawl data, and then on top of that, for PDFs, it's going to be 64 megabytes. So when you look at the amount of, like you said, the stack, the timing, the rendering, how that's going to be played, where is it going to be positioned from, it's different. We have a client that they've been literally trying to figure out what's wrong with their site because they've been going down in traffic, and it's not about content. They have millions of millions of pages within thousands, tens of thousands of sitemaps that are within URLs that have about 50,000 URLs each sitemap, and that's about close to about 1,000 sitemaps in total. So when I looked at that and I said, okay, what could be causing this problem? I came to realize that Googlebot, which is not, when people hear Googlebot, they think it's just one, but it's deeper than that. But Googlebot, just for an example, was getting a 403 error, but Google Chrome was getting a 200 okay message. So when you start looking at that and you're like, oh, this is actually working, but it's not really rendering the same because there's a front door, there's something that has been eliminated or gated or put in a way that is not being seen, then that sends the wrong signal because it will be parsed. So yes, definitely there's going to be a big change when it comes to vibe coding, even just websites in general being a source of information. And of course, intellectual property, like you said, with cybersecurity, a lot of things are going to be coming into play. But yes, SEO is something that you can't ignore because it's everywhere. If you have a podcast, if you have a book, if you're an author, a speaker, if you have a business, a local business, if you have a brick and mortar, e-commerce, your website is going to be very important, because if you don't have those things in place and your websites are not having those right responsive key phrases, then you're not going to be anywhere within the knowledge panel of Google. And as Google's knowledge panel is growing and you're not part of that database and you're writing content just for content's sake, then it's going to be hard for you to scale when you don't have structured data in place. If you don't have your schema in place, if you don't have the micro data points that are going to have end-to-end discussions, it's going to be hard for you to scale. So most people should be looking into how both of them work together as opposed to how they should look for one over the other. So thank you so much for that, Ryan. That was a really great share. This was good. I really thank you all for being here. I know it's late, but I wanted to make sure I can be here and give y'all some insights, because I've talked about this some time before and I said, it's coming up again. So we definitely got to talk about this and bring a part two. But before we go, Darren, you want to say something? Please feel free to come up. And thank you all for being here. Unique, Soma, Ishman, Mark, Istiak, Erdine, Isa, Divya, Stephen, G, Superwani, thank you for being here tonight. And Lindsay, thank you for being here as well. She was here earlier. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I hope everything is going to be good with you this evening. Enjoy your Easter weekend. I'm actually amazing that it's April 2nd. We just started the month. So it's busy. And I said, yeah, it's better to start the month off like this. Let's talk about this information. Let's get this going. And I hope that you're learning something new. You're taking something home and you're applying these things. If you want more information like this, before we go, click the link at the top. This is going to take you to where you can leave your contact information with me, and you get emails like this where we talk about this information at length, so that if you don't have any information that may be clear, or you have information that needs to be clarified, we can talk about it and make sure that at least you're aware of what's going on in 2026, as you also do your research, because we're doing ours too. So just to make sure that you have the best understanding of what's happening within the updates that are going on. Darren, what's going on? How are you? Welcome to the room.
Yo, what's going on, man? Yeah, I just came into your room because I was looking for signs of intelligent life. This was the only room that seemed relevant for my desire. Yeah, I was listening in more closely earlier when you had Lindsay, and then I've been paying attention to some other stuff, and I've just brought my attention back again. What's going on? You wrapping up the room now? Or you staying there?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, your subject's good, man. I was talking, I don't know if you know, what's her name, Celeste. She likes talking about similar stuff. I was talking with her earlier. There was somebody I was talking to earlier as well about this sort of stuff, SEO, and then for me, what's even more important is being found on AI. I don't know how many people are out there doing this, but it's got to be a really common thing right now for people to be searching on Google AI mode or ChatGPT or all those other things. Crazy important right now for me anyway, that if people are searching for certain things via AI, that I get found in that space. And I think just being even more tighter on your SEO is the thing that's going to get you found on the AI thing. I mean, I know that because if I search my own stuff in Google's AI mode thing, I see how it mainly references like my LinkedIn or my website. So I mean, it's kind of just, I don't know, it's just a really super duper important subject at the moment, even more than people realize, because that's how you get found now, isn't it, as an expert or a go-to person or thing or whatever. But yeah, no, I ain't really got too much to add, but I just want to say, yeah, it's a super important subject. But over to you, Favour.
Thank you, Darren. Yeah, it's super important right now, especially when it comes to explicitly, semantically, and I can also say sophisticated wise structuring your website in a way that you're not just rendering HTML, you're also rendering XML. And if you're also rendering RSS, really simple syndication, that's also good too, if you have a podcast, for example. So these are very important. And most websites just have defaults. Like, for example, I know with Wix, they have a crawl delay of -10 on their, or is it +10? It's just, I know it's a 10. And that is usually on Wix by default. And you wonder why. And I'm like, why is this there as a sticker? And most people don't even realize it. Even like blog tags, there's a no index robots text that is put there by default. And when I found that out, and I was like, let me check 3 other, website from Wix. And I was like, whoa. Like, it's not just 1, it's not just 2. So imagine other people who don't know about this. And then you expect to rank on Google when your own website is telling the search engines not to render or crawl or fetch the content. So we don't know about these things until we know, something is actually wrong. So when I do these audits and I look at websites and I'm like, there it is. And it's just there in plain sight. But sometimes web developers don't know this because they've been developing websites and all that's what they're doing. But it's great because that's what you need for structure. You can't have a house without a building that is built on structure. So the structure is where the development comes. That's why it's WebDev. It's development. It's research and development. The SEO is what allows the development to actually be seen, be heard, be understood, be crawled, be all the good stuff, be rendered, be served, so that you're serving information at a high capacity and a high velocity too, with a high bandwidth. So it's very important to look at your structured data in 2026. So thank you for that, Darren. Appreciate you for that insight. Thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Also, feel free to save the replay and also click the link above where you can have access to more information like this. I send out emails and I always make sure that you get in your inbox. And you get some really good insights too, because I really go on a deep dive showing you some things that you can actually see for your business so that you can apply it for yourself or we can apply it with you. So till we meet again, God bless you. Have a wonderful evening and I'll see you guys in the next room. Take care. Bye for now. If you have reached this point of the episode, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show. I hope this has helped you, given you some insight, because every time I come on here or anytime I bring somebody on here, a guest, a speaker, anyone that is of relevance to you listening is always going to give you educational value, definitely entertainment value, and most importantly, empowerment value. So thank you for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show every day. And if you want to reach out to me, you know where to find me. Click the links in the description or go to info@playinc.online, info@playinc.online, and book a call. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk SEO. Let's talk marketing. Let's talk business. Let's talk scaling. And I look forward to meeting you and learning more about you and your business. Till we meet in the next episode, have a blessed evening, have a blessed day, night, wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye for now. And don't forget, Jesus loves you.